What up, YouTube? It's your boy Banks. And we back in the building, you feel me? It's True Talks. Cause True Talks. Alright, let's get straight right into it. So you already know, man, tonight we definitely have something that's gonna be a good matchup, man. A great matchup. We have the Lakers, the Heat and the Lakers in the finals. You know what I'm saying? And they went through a good road, a good route. Obviously, the Lakers on their end, we know that we wanted to see the Clippers and the Lakers match up similar to like we wanted to see Houston Rockets and the Golden State Warriors. And then that was a battle. You know what I'm saying? That was a battle. And then we all wanted to see that. So the fact that the Warriors got through that is like, okay, they were good. Obviously within that, people are like, oh, they had an easier route because they were down 3-2 and then CP3 got injured and that's that in the third. You know what I'm saying? Which is true to a certain extent. But at the end of the day, like you look at it from that perspective, they didn't mention that Iguodala was also horrible and he was injured as well too. You know what I'm saying? And that affected their switchability that they normally do. Their Hampton 5. But we won't get into all the details of that. But the main point is there was a match that we were looking for and we got to see, and the team that came out was like, okay, you know what I mean? You deserve it. You deserve it. But when you look at it from the Lakers end, the matchup we wanted to see was the Lakers and the Clippers. And it's not no knock against the Lakers. It's just more a disappointment and anger towards the Clippers. Like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? So when they didn't get that, obviously it makes the road easier for the Lakers. And then now that they're in the finals, they handle business. Obviously, don't get it twisted. They were up 3-1-2, both teams versus the Nuggets. One team, palms was sweaty and gave up the lead, and one team closed out. So in that sense, it's not like we're mad at the Lakers or anything like that. We're just mad at not having the matchup itself, where it's like, this is what elite looks like. You know what I'm saying? And we didn't have that. We're robbed of that. Obviously, we know why. But moving forward, so, you have the Lakers have their path and whatever and get to the finals. And we have the Heat have their path where they actually face, tough matchup after tough match. Even Indiana was supposed to be a tough matchup, made quick work. You know what I'm saying? The Bucks were supposed to be a tough matchup, made quick work. You know what I'm saying? And the Celtics was actually a tough matchup, and it was, a couple of shots away from a game 7. So they just, at the end of the day, just being the underdog, being a 5th seed in the finals. I don't remember the last time I've seen that, but you know what I'm saying? It just this is what elite looks like. Regardless, now the Lakers are the real favorites. Like, if the Lakers don't win this and LeBron doesn't get his 4th ring, bruh, there's going to be some ethering. Just know that. Just know that. But now when we want to get into the nitty gritty, the matchups, the X's and O's about this matchup, it's just, we got a lot of things to look forward to. We got the storyline of the Heat, not having LeBron no more. He moved on. Obviously there was a lot of maybe some tension, you know what I mean? Some with Pat Riley and them, especially when LeBron was leaving. We all know how he left and how that happened. And it wasn't like a good thing. It didn't seem like it was a good thing within Pat Riley and LeBron and how they were moving. And, obviously, so now it's like they're meeting. We shall meet again, and they meet again. You know what I'm saying? And it's like the last time that he was in the finals was when LeBron was there. And the last time that he was in the finals, they lost in a record margin to the Spurs. And LeBron was there, and then he left and went to Cleveland. So it's like, okay, now it's like it coming full circle. The team he got his first ring with, now he's trying to get maybe, might be his last or one of his last few or whatever. So it's like it's full circle in that sense. And it's like, it's just a lot of good storyline there facing his old team. Then you have the Heat and the Lakers, obviously. And then it's just a lot of good narratives. You have two teams that weren't in the playoffs last year, and then now they're in the finals. Just a lot of storylines. You have Bam versus AD, which is a good matchup, a great matchup actually. But Spoelstra starts. That's one thing I'm looking to see. Obviously, we have Butler and Butler and LeBron. You know what I mean? You have Jay Crowder, you have Iguodala versus LeBron again. Iguodala, which is crazy, going to the finals 6 straight times, 2 different teams. And then, you know what I mean? It's just, there's a lot of different side narratives, right? A lot of different side narratives that you want to look at. And this is what, when it comes down to just now, we're talking about the X's and O's, matchup wise, AD versus Bam Adebayo was something I want to see. I want to see Bam, you know, because Bam has lockup defense. We all know how he has lockup defense. But Bam hasn't really played like an Arsenal big. Like he's playing like Tice, you know what I'm saying? Maybe like Brook Lopez, Giannis. He's not playing like a guy who could like post up, high post, face up, go on the low block. He doesn't really break chest, but he'll hit you with a floater if you know her, a push shot out the post, you know what I'm saying? You'll get offensive rebounds, punch on bean, alleys, you know what I mean? Spot up threes, you know what I mean? A crossover, one dribble pull-ups, like, you know, has he pull up in the mid-range? Like, he has a wide array of ability. So it's like, I want to see how Bam actually mono, how they kind of match up, how that looks. It's a great matchup to see. But Spoelstra has changed his dynamics of his team because AD plays the 4, which means the wider JaVale, most likely JaVale starts the game. AD's at the 4. And the Heat, like I've said from time, have changed since this bubble. They've changed their whole lineup, the logistics of their actual team, how they move. Normally they used to have Myers Leonard at the center and Bam would play the 4. He wasn't playing the 5, right? That's how they were moving. But ever since they got Iguodala and they got Jay Crowder, now they do a lot of small ball. Bam is what, 6'9", 6'10", just like AD, and he's starting at the 5. So him starting at the 5 to start the game, I'm looking to see. That's what I'm waiting to see, because that will also determine how I give my predictions, because what I've seen from Spoelstra, and y'all know I've been tweeting about this too, is that I haven't seen Spoelstra do. He did it within a game. Sometimes he'll have Olynyk at the 5, you know what I mean, and then Bam will be playing the 4, or have Bam at the 5 and Olynyk at the 4, and then they cross match, whatever, and they have basically 2 bigs, right, a 4 and a 5. But that happens very slim to none, and he hasn't adjusted and actually started out the gate. Yo, I want Bam on this guy. I want Bam on Giannis. You know what I mean? He hasn't done that. So I'm curious. I'm very curious to see if he's going to do Bam at the 4, guard him at all times, because you can't really have Bam at the 5 and then still guard AD. Then who is guarding JaVale, right? Unless they put Crowder on JaVale. I don't know. But most likely I see him starting Bam. They'll start their same lineup the way they've been doing, small ball, Crowder at the 4. And basically like you have, you know, four perimeter players and Bam. And then he's going to put Bam on JaVale and put like Crowder on AD, and that's barbecue chicken. But Crowder has girth, right? But it's like, I want to see Bam and AD. I want to see Bam on AD. And actually, that's the best chance for the Heat anyways, to force LeBron to drop 50, to drop 60, to drop 40s and lock up AD. Because it's been like media they just sus with narratives, man. They haven't really talked about that AD's been MVP of this team, to be honest. They still say LeBron's the best player, when AD's been the guy cooking. AD's been the guy carrying. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, LeBron's facilitating and doing his job, but, you know, production-wise, defense-wise, it's been AD. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's be real. So, they're not going to talk about that, but that's what I say. If I'm going to try and beat the Lakers, I want to neutralize or contain AD as much as possible and let LeBron get 50 on me. He has to get 50, let those shooters brick. Like, I'll help off the shooters on LeBron or whatever, and just, those shooters, force them to shoot, make Rondo shoot, brick. But if he's hitting, change the game plan. And I'm going and I'm putting, you know what I mean? I'm letting LeBron go mono and help off him. Maybe if they have another big or whatever, and help off that. But most of the times I'm going to like force him to go to work, especially if I have good wing defenders in Crowder, Iguodala, you know what I'm saying, and Jimmy Butler, who have, they're stocky, they have cutoff ability, they're more athletic, all that type of stuff, similar to what the Clippers had with their perimeter players when you had perimeter defenders, when they had Marcus Morris, Kawhi, and Paul George, right? So that's similar. So I want to make LeBron be less athletic, make him be a shot creator, and have arsenal. and force him to do that all 7 games, all 48 minutes. And if he eats doing that and we lose, we lost. You know what I'm saying? Greatness. That's what I would want to do. Put him in that light. That's what I would do if I was a coach. But again, like I said, I don't know what Spoelstra is going to do when it comes to Bam at the 5 or the 4. I don't know, right? So it's like I haven't seen Spoelstra actually do what I expect him and want him to do when it comes to matchup and cross matchup wise. So I have to wait and see for that. But again, in just looking at it, if Bam is on AD, that is a good matchup. That is a good matchup. Bam has great defense. We've seen the blocks he's made. We've seen how he blocked Tatum. We've seen how he alters shots. We've seen how, you know what I mean? He can get rebounds. Like, he facilitate on offense. Like, he's a good player, man. He's a good player, and he's just only going to get better, right? He's going to have to get an arsenal of his own too. And I know he can shoot the mid-range. He just doesn't shoot it often, but he can expand and actually pick and pop, do that Ibaka in the mid-range area. And then eventually, when you keep doing the mid-range for a while, eventually you'll pull it out to 3 and do that Ibaka transition. He actually looks more like Ibaka at his younger ages with more ability and more skill, right? So that's what I'm looking forward to see that. That's a good matchup. And like I said, you got Jimmy Butler, you got Jimmy Butler and Bron. My IQ says, like I said, Bam at the 5. I'll be surprised if he puts someone else there at the 4 with him and force him to guard AD. But I see Bam at the 5. I see Crowder going to guard AD. And then I see Jimmy Butler guarding guarding Bron. So when I see that, and then I'm gonna see how that moves. And then Jimmy Butler has padded Bron at times, especially even when he was with the Bulls and they had to play before. Jimmy Butler has padded him. He has good cutoff ability. He has great defense. But you know the Lakers, man, they're gonna go bully ball. They're gonna go bully balling in and run into the paint, get a lot of transition. And that's why I'm like, my prediction when it all fails comes down to it, I still got the Lakers in 6, no matter what the X's and O's and this and that. Just play style wise, team dynamics, weaknesses of a team, weaknesses of the Lakers, strengths of the team with the Heat, strengths of the Lakers, and seeing which one's going to happen more so than none. So when I look at it, the negatives that I've seen with the Heat when they were facing the Celtics was they let Cantor was breaking chest and abusing, right? And he was doing that in limited minutes and whenever he got it here and there. What do you think AD is going to do? I replace Cantor with AD. I expect barbecue chicken. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he might put Bam on him more and then not switch and whatever. But if Cantor is eating the paint, just an overall sum it up, I expect guys who just run into the paint when it comes to AD and then Dwight and JaVale and getting rebounds, I expect them to do that. And that was one of the Heat's weaknesses. Not only that, another Heat weakness was when they miss a shot or whatever, transition offense. And that's when the Celtics was able, especially game 5, able to come back was when they got good stops, forced them to create one-on-one, switch everything, and they were struggling. Other than Dragic creating one-on-one, they were struggling a lot. And they would get, turnovers because of that or miss a shot because of that. Then what happens? Transition. And the Celtics came back and then the Celtics even won the game. So it's like, that's exactly the MO of the Lakers. And they don't do it sporadically like the Celtics do. They live in transition. That's what they want. Especially Bron. That's his whole career. Elite defense. We gone. Rondo push tempo. We gone. Transition. That's how they live. Throw it down AD. Their bigs run. Like their bigs run. Even Dwight. Even JaVale. AD. So it's not like they have slow girth or slow, bigs. They have like athletic, mobile bigs. So it's like they just push in transition. And that's why even though their half court is a lot of times anus and they struggle, can't shoot and this and that, and they go through droughts, the Lakers, they get stops and they eat in transition. So it's like, and all the little things like the offensive you force them to a terrible shot, offensive rebound layup, AD, offensive rebound dunk, offensive rebound, go to the free throw line. Like they just, all those little things they get time and time again. So like stop the momentum. And those things are crucial because you stop the momentum. You stop transition for the other team. You stop, off what normally a bad miss, rebound lead to a bucket, cancel. Now you get an offensive rebound and then you go to the line or you get a putback, demoralizing the other team where it's like, damn, we finally got to stop. Ah, shit, when you need it. And it's like the Lakers always get those things. You could see it, just the way their makeup is. And that's from energy. That's from effort. You know what I'm saying? And just being a bigger team. So when you look at it from that perspective, that's something that I don't see not happening. I don't see Miami preventing that from happening. But in Miami's Heat favor, right? When you look at it from just breakdown wise, in Miami's favor, when you see it, you could see that they have good, like with their zone where they like that zone would probably work on it might work because again, I see the Lakers attacking the middle, especially having 80 will play like the free throw line. I can see him playing the free throw line or just having two bigs. You can't guard two bigs in the zone. If you have Dwight Howard on the block and then 80 at the free throw line and they could do a high-low or whatever, like, and then LeBron could just pick poison. Like, it's harder to run the zone. Even though eyes-wise it tells you they don't shoot well, they can't run the zone. They don't need to shoot. Like, you don't have to shoot in the zone. You don't have to. People just, it's like, I don't know, it's a misconstrued thought and a bad narrative that's out there that you gotta, obviously shooters kill up the zone. And that's what, especially even me playing, shooter, you split on the 45, you just chill there and you can just kill the zone, just be shooting the niggas out the zone all day, every day. But really, you can high low and just eat the pain in the zone and get offensive rebounds in the zone, right? So it's like, I can see it working in stretches, but at some point they're going to have to go man, especially with the Lakers. So regardless to what's in the Heat's favor, the zone could, it could fluster them, it could. But for the Heat, what I see in their favor is just ball movement. Lakers struggle with multiple defending most teams, especially they're older. They are locked in and they do play. They help the helper and they do helter-skelter defense when they have to go through the second string and all these type of rotations, the third rotation. You know how you have the first coverage and the second and the third and the fourth off of when the pump fake dribble drive, and you keep doing that maybe 4 times and you see how you're rotating. Are you on the string? Are you defensively? The Lakers, they do good with that. Obviously, they struggle with sometimes closing out to the 3-point shooters and then a blow by and then maybe a 1-dribble pull up and all that type of stuff. But the teams they've been facing don't have players that could do that or ball movement players that have actions like Golden State. They haven't played a team like that. It's more so with ISOing, so you can lock in on this guy, double team him, and then, helter skelter the next guy's in the lane and force him to do bad passes, steal and whatever. They do that type of stuff the same way they did with Harden, same way they did with Lillard, right? So, and then the Nuggets, they did sometimes with Jamal Murray and whatever. So it's like, they didn't have a team that this is what's going to be to the Heat's benefit where you see them versus Celtics. Like, even when they're padded, it's like handoff. They have multiple guys that pull off screens. Like normally it's one guy, so you could tell double that guy when he gets a Dame pulls off screen, double that guy. Or Harden, whatever, double that guy. Jamal Murray, double that guy. And other guys don't have the ability to do it. The Heat, they have Dragic who can pull, right? You have Hero and Duncan Robinson both curling off screens, pull in. So it's like you have to be fine-tuned defensively to know which coverages for this person. Because, that's the context that a lot of people don't see. Like, based on player personnel, you guard them differently in the same situations. This guy coming off screen, we drop coverage. This guy coming off screen, we trap, right? So to be engaged and to realize who's coming off the screen and then what I got to do, right? And do quick twitch thinking, fast reacting is where sometimes you can create more mental mistakes because it's like they have to be locked in for 48 minutes to know it's him. Don't do it. It's not him. It's not him. It's this guy. Do it. You know what I'm saying? There's no every single play, every other play. Like, that's the things that people don't understand, that the mental capacity and the focus you have to actually play like this game at a high level is those are the things that people don't talk about. Those are the intangibles. That's part of it, right? So it's like, when you look at it from that perspective, like, bruh, you recognize, oh, Hero, he's coming off a screen, pulling the gap, pull off the three, coming off the screen, handoff. Oh, it's Duncan Robinson. You already know he's doing it. Like, for Duncan Robinson, I expect him to do it every single time, but he can catch them off guard sometimes where it's like, shit, oh, Dwight just came in the game. Fuck, it's Duncan Robinson. And now he's open. He did drop coverage by accident, right? Stuff like that. When you have both, that's the good thing with ball movement, which is why people preach ball movement. When you always have a lot of ball movement, you can catch teams, rotations, if they're not in tune and they have, let's say, even little things, they're fatigued on one play. So he's not going to break that. He's not going to do effort chasing this guy, right? Or because he's fatigued and you never have switched, but now you're tired. Now you're telling him switch and you never switch. Miscommunication, slip, bucket, layup, right? Things like that. When you constantly move, when you're creating movement, the defenders have to be on the string at all points of the game, all 24 seconds of the shot clock for them to pad, right? And because of movement and because of it creates lack of energy sometimes, like so to guard it, you have to work and fight and push through when you're tired and chase him, or switch. You have to, and be thinking when you're fatigued, you don't react the same sometimes, you give less effort, and your brain capacity sometimes, you don't be thinking, because you're fatigued, you're tired. You don't think, oh shit, I gotta, you move different. So again, that movement similar to Golden State, that's why it's a struggle guarding. Then when you add a score within that, it's difficult. But the Heat, they have a lot of movement, handoff slips, also called handoff threes, curls, backdoors, all that type of stuff. So that will challenge the Lakers defensively. I would say they haven't faced anyone so far that has done that. But the issue with that sometimes goes in the Lakers' favor is that, let's say they're switching everything and they're cutting off that ball movement stuff. The Heat do, they have guys who can shot create. So when you, Dragic, Hero, Butler, and that's mainly their main creators. But they go through stretches where those guys aren't superior. They're great. They're good at it. They're above average, but they're not superior that in certain situations, tough bucket, tough make, and they might get it here and there, but every single time, that's where it's they're not a KD, they're not a Kyrie, they're not even somewhat Kawhi, they're not you know what I mean? So it's you'll see stretches where it's God damn, they're struggling to score. And that's where the Celtics presented a better challenge for the Lakers defensively when it came to shot creating ability, one-on-one wise, right? But again, like I said, this is going to be a good matchup regardless. There's a lot of things that for the Lakers are an advantage. Now, I'm not going to say it's going to be a sweep. I'm not going to say it's going to be 5 games. I'm going to have to, go and say that I got the Lakers in 6 or 7. I expect Bron to win his 4th ring. Now, if LeBron doesn't do it and he doesn't it's going to be it's not the way mans are mad at Kawhi for what he did. This is going to be a real upset, a real one. Bron fans are going to find a way. Oh my God, the bubble, or oh my God, he averaged a triple double. They're going to find a way to do something. But regardless, he's supposed to win this. He's the clear cut favorite, similar to Dallas, and this is even bigger than that because. You know what I mean? Obviously they have 2 All-Stars, but they don't have a Hall of Famer. Dirk is a Hall of Famer. They don't have that. Jimmy Butler, that's my guy, but he's not in anyone's eyes a Hall of Famer. You know what I'm saying? But again, the benefit of this team is they are dogs. They have dogs. They don't give up. They're young but seasoned, and they still have guys who are seasoned, right? You have Haslam doing the proper coaching, IQ, OG, which is crucial. So it's there's a lot of things that there's so many things that I can never say is gonna be a 5-game, 4-game. It might be, it could be for the Lakers. They could win 5-5. They could do that, but I'm not gonna predict it because I just have too much faith in those dogs. In those, that just the fighting, and the good thing about the Heat is they know how to close. They shown that. They know how to close. Dragic, get me a bucket. Butler, get me a bucket. Hero, we need a hero. Oh my goodness. Robinson, keep on Robinson. Keep on robbing, son. Come on now. They have guys, man. They have guys and they've been closing. Celtics are supposed to be closers. And they close on the closer. So they're the real closers. So, you know what I mean? They're not imposers. So I'm telling you, man, it's just, you got to look at it and you got to say yo, there's a lot of benefits that are for the Heat. You know what I'm saying? And Spoelstra and then that zone and what it's going to be a good series. We'll see how it goes. Man. Anyways, it's True Talks. Because True Talks, like I said, you know what I mean? And for the Lakers, that X factor, you already know Rondo pushing the tempo. Kuzma has to step up this series. Kuzma has to hit his shots and whatever, and they need to try and go to him more. And I expect Bron to, at some points, trying to pick poison and hit them. But if the Lakers aren't hitting their shots, they might be in for a rude awakening too. So it could go either way. Regardless, I think it's a 6 or 7 game series. But if I had to put my money in house on the line, I got the Lakers in 6 or 7. And we just roll with that. So you already know it's True Talks. Because True Talks, share, like, and subscribe. We out here. There's no doubt here. There's no drought here. You feel me? That's what LA looks like, man. I will be doing breakdowns of these finals games. Bye. You already know. And I'm out, man.